What's up? I'm Furr. It's Monday, and that means it's time to open up a mailbox and see what kind of questions you have sent in. All right, just kidding. There's actually a form that you fill out on the website. The link is in the description. If you have a question about copywriting, marketing, all that good stuff that you'd like to have answered, let's check out today's question that's going to lead me to talk about the minimum viable funnel for getting copywriting clients, the minimum viable funnel. All right, so today's Mailbox Monday question. I've recently come across your YouTube channel and the value you provide is phenomenal, especially in terms of addressing the basic principles and philosophy of writing for businesses. My biggest challenge is getting my first client as a copywriter away from the claws of the big freelancing platforms. So saying wants to get clients, but not on Upwork, which by the way, Upwork and all those platforms, those can be great for getting initial experience and getting a little bit of early success in terms of just going through the client process of like having clients. But I fully agree that you don't want to just be stuck on those platforms because they're not, they're certainly not ideal places for a few different reasons. One of which is that you're participating in a cattle call, which is there's a ton of copywriters showing up and fighting over the same limited amount of work, which naturally is going to turn you into more of a commodity and drive prices down. It's going to lead to less respect for you and your unique abilities. The other thing is that, while they are great, they do provide a service of connecting you with clients. They do take a lot of your fees. And for the first 2 years that you have a relationship with a client, Upwork is going to continue to take a significant portion of your payments. And the other platforms are built basically the same way. So this idea of getting off, away from the claws of the big freelancing platforms, away from the claws, I love it. So continuing the question, what basic funnel do I need for consistent leads? Do I need a portfolio, website, or simply a Calendly? I have no real experience so far, only 3 months of work improving my ideal prospects, web copy, and sales pages. That sounds like practice. It sounds like this person has been practicing and figuring out, just the flow of writing copy, improving copy, all of that. So like I said, if you have a question, check out Ask Roy Your Question. It's in the description. That's where you submit your question to have it answered. Let's answer this one. So when it comes to getting early copywriting clients, honestly, it's kind of a do everything that you can. I had a conversation at one point with a copywriter, Joshua Lee Henry, who has gone on and built a pretty significant, successful career as a copywriter, where he said when he was getting started, like he wanted to become a full-time copywriter and he was committed full-time. And so if he didn't have client work to do during those hours, he spent his time chasing down opportunities and creating opportunities. And that's kind of the attitude and the approach that you need to have if you want to be successful with this. You need to really go after clients and make it a full-time job as much as possible. Or if you're doing it part-time to get started, which I fully support, I did it. I got my first freelance clients on the side of working a marketing job. So if you're going to do that, then just take whatever time, carve out that time that you're going to dedicate to building this client business and dedicate that time to doing whatever you can to get clients. So for early clients, so much of what you need to do involves like having conversations, doing what's maybe called networking, right? But just think of it like I'm having a conversation with some human beings, right? You don't need to make it some formal process of networking. Honestly, you'll have better results if you just try and have human conversations, right? It can happen online. In person is even better if you're attending events where clients are going to be at. And this can be like a national conference. This can be something locally. If there are, if you're trying to get work with local businesses, maybe they're not your ideal clients going forward, but maybe just in terms of getting a reputation and building some success, maybe working with some local business that you meet through Chamber of Commerce, that you meet through local whatever groups. The whole point is in-person conversations are great. Online conversations are good. So you want to make lots of connections. It's sometimes a frustrating process. One thing that I used fairly early on when I was trying to connect with people was having a podcast where I did interviews. Having any kind of way that you can reach out to people that's not exclusively just, hey, let me sell you something, because people are inundated with being sold. You want to differentiate yourself and just come across like a human being who's going to treat them kindly, right? Especially if you want good clients who are going to come across like human beings and treat you kindly. You kind of need to do the same thing. Now, all of that said, I think that asking about the funnel is a really smart question, because having some kind of process is better. And I named this episode the minimum viable funnel, right? So presumably I'm going to share with you what that minimum viable funnel is. But first, I want to talk to you about my actual experience that was like, it preceded the minimum viable funnel. Now, I went on and I taught this, and you can still get this as part of BTMSinsiders membership. I taught this as Roy Furr's networking secret. I'm going to kind of give it away here for you. Just spilling secrets. I'm going to spill some secrets in this episode. So my simple process for networking, unfortunately, it took me a little bit longer than maybe I would have liked it to discover this. I didn't use this for my first couple clients, but it's absolutely what I would do today and what I recommend for you to do today. Starts off just having a conversation. Like I said, start some human conversations with people. Oh, you're in marketing, you do this, cool. Like, tell me about the kind of marketing you do. I'm really fascinated. I'm interested. Asking a bunch of questions to elicit their current situation with marketing and maybe where they see themselves going with marketing, right? Like what they're looking forward to in their marketing approach. And the goal is just to kind of see if they are in need of copy, right? If you're going to be a copywriter, if you're going to work with them, providing some kind of copy. And heck, it doesn't even matter if like you're using AI to write it, right? The whole point is, do they need a message that's going to convert their audience, that's going to motivate their audience to take some kind of action, right? So you're going to have this conversation. And if they have the need, right, you're going to maybe mention that that's what you do. And if they're interested, then you're going to do something important. Instead of jumping all over them and being all desperate and like being repulsive, because desperate, unfortunately, the more you need it, the less they will want to work with you. And so the more desperate you appear for the work, the less attractive you will be as a service provider. And so at this point, you kind of pull back, right? You're having a conversation. Maybe you're having the conversation online, like through DMs on LinkedIn or, in a Facebook group or something. Or maybe you're having the conversation in person at some kind of networking event. The one exception that I would say here is if you're like one-on-one extended conversation with this person, this next line is not going to work for you, right? But I'm going to assume that you're in a place where it's not a great context to discuss a complete client relationship. And so at this point, and this is what I did, like I was at kind of a job fair thing for copywriters. I said, well, this is not actually a great place to actually, line out what a project would look like and all that. Would you want to schedule a call? And in this case, we were both traveling. So would you like to schedule a call after we're both home and back in the office? Not a good place to have a full conversation. Would you like to schedule a call? Okay, cool. Like that's an easy thing for someone to say yes to if they're interested in having a conversation. The other thing is if it's DMs or whatever, they're going to say, yeah, it's not really a great place to, I'll schedule a call if they are interested, right? And then when it was in person, I would say, okay, let me send you an email. And I whipped out my phone and I had the email pre-written in my notes app. And I was able to say share and say share through my email. And then it transferred it. It created a new email with everything that I needed that included a call booking link, some information, or, just like hey, it was great to meet you at, we talked about scheduling a call. Here's the link to do that. And then I think I included a testimonial or two because those are good, right? In the signature. So I sent the email with the call booking link, and then most of them would schedule the call before they even got home. But then I could also follow up with those people that I had emailed because it was in my sent email, right? I could follow up with those people after I got home and say, hey, were you still interested in having a call if they hadn't booked yet, right? Very human, very conversational, very low key. But then I would have these calls with people, and the one that I'm thinking of, I don't remember the exact numbers, but the number that's popping in my head, and this is probably pretty accurate, was I did like $56,000 worth of business from an afternoon of talking to potential clients. Now, granted, I may have been in a different place than you were at the time, than you are right now, right? But the process really worked. It connected me with a ton of clients and led to a bunch of work. And so the process works if you work it. Now I took that same idea and I said, okay, what if we had to do the same thing, but it wasn't having conversations online? But it wasn't having one-to-one conversations. Maybe it is having one-to-one conversations, but how do we set the whole thing up online in a way where no matter where they're coming from, et cetera, like we can send people into the same system? And so I came up with this minimum viable funnel model. And you have to do something. You have to do something, and oftentimes it's going to be some manual labor early on. You have to do something to generate interest in what you do, right? And so maybe you're providing value posts on Facebook and social media. Maybe you're, I don't know. Maybe you're actually having conversations with people. Maybe you're engaging in conversations in various groups. Maybe you are directly reaching out to people who you think might be a good fit as far as your client base. So you're initiating some kind of conversation, either one-to-many or one-to-one, and trying to get people to raise their hand and express interest in what it is that you do. And there's lots of different ways depending on the context, right? So it could be comment whatever word below, or send me a DM if you're interested in this. If you're going to be on Facebook or other similar social media, it could be if you're actually having a conversation, it could be, hey, did you want to just schedule a quick call, right? The whole point is you need to be doing things to stimulate interest. And I know that feels super generic, but really it has to fit you and it has to fit your market. Where can you connect with those ideal prospects? Who are they? Really identify them, identify how you're going to be able to find them, how you're going to be able to get in front of them, and be actively doing things on a consistent basis to try and generate interest among your ideal prospects. And then you send them to an appointment booking. So I use Book Like a Boss. You asked about Calendly. That's a good tool. Acuity scheduling. You could have it embedded in a website. You don't necessarily need to, right? But do some kind of appointment booking and get them to book a strategy session with you. That's an initial call, right? It's hey, I'd like to figure out if I can help you develop a strategy to achieve whatever result. You do the strategy session, have that conversation with them. Again, fairly conversational selling, focused on problem solving, and figuring out if they are a fit for you. Make an offer, and hopefully get paid. I mean, if you are disqualifying people who are not a good fit throughout this process, and so the people who are getting to the point where they have a strategy session with you and you have a conversation and they seem to be a good fit, hopefully most of the people you make an offer to are going to become clients. Yeah. And throughout the process, you may need to do some follow-up. So if there's interest, but they don't actually book the appointment, you might want to check in with them and make sure they were seriously interested. If they book the appointment, you probably want to check in with them and make sure that they're going to show up for the strategy session. If you do the strategy session and make an offer, but they don't immediately turn that into money in the bank for you, then you may need to follow up with them at that point, right? There's a lot of different scenarios, but again, treat it like human conversations, because you're having conversations with human. And that minimum viable funnel is taught. I can't remember if I actually teach it in the Launch Your Client Business free mini course, which is going to be linked in the description. I know that is like an intro to the Client Getting Blueprint. And for sure, I go deep into this whole process in the Client Getting Blueprint. Those are part of the BTMSinsiders library. As you go, you might also want to build a more robust website, but not necessarily in the very beginning before you have clients. You serve yourself better to go out and get clients with a minimum viable funnel process than you do actually building out a website and spending a bunch of months, weeks, years trying to attract clients through a website that, a lot of times, even though that website should work to attract clients and is designed with many of the same principles in mind, it does not necessarily attract clients when you're brand new. So if you do want to build a website, though, that training is linked in the description, and the Roy Furr's networking secret, lots of stuff linked in the description. It's all a part of the BTMS Insider streaming library, at least the paid stuff, where you get unlimited streaming access to all my copywriting and marketing courses. My call to action for you at this episode is ask, how can you use this? How are you going to apply this in your business? Applies beyond copywriting to pretty much any service business. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe so you get more content like this delivered to you. All the links are in the description. I'm Roy Furr, this is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets, and I will see you again in the next episode. See you soon. Bye. Thank you once again for tuning in to this daily episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Remember, check out the links with this episode for even more value. Now make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and engage in every way you can to keep this show going and growing and delivering daily value to you. I'll catch you soon for your next big breakthrough.